Hello guys, in this tutorial I'm going to teach you how to make this little duck. He fit perfectly right in my palm. It only takes about 2 hours to make, and this is coming from someone who crochet very slowly, so if you're a fast crocheter you probably could make him in like an hour and a half or even less time. So these can be a good product to sell at a market or convention and so on, because it takes little time but it turns out wonderfully. So here are some material you will need. The first is the burnet baby blanket yarn. You can also use a different yarn brand if you couldn't find this particular one, as long as the yarn say super bulky for the weight, then it's fine to use. So basically you're going to be needing the white color, this yellow color, and then sort of a brown color, as well as this green color right here. You're going to need this dark brown right here is the medium weight yarn. This is a smaller weight yarn, but we're going to use this to embroider some details on the face, so the weight doesn't matter too much. Like I said, use a anywhere from 6 to 6.5 mm hook for this project. For beginner, I do recommend 6.5 mm hook. I think that would suit you more. And a lot of people actually ask me this a lot, like why are we using such a small hook when, you know, the yarn brand actually recommend 8 mm hook. The reason for that is because when they write this recommendation, usually they are recommended for someone who are making the blanket, where there could be a lot of holes and gaps in between stitches. You actually wouldn't want that for your amigurumi, right? You wouldn't want to see any hole between the stitches. You don't want to see the stuffing coming out. So in order to avoid that, I usually recommend using a smaller hook than what the yarn brand actually recommend always. Next up, you also would be needing a needle in order to sew parts together. So just make sure you have like a long needle with the big eye on the top so that you can put your yarn through. Another thing you will need for this project is some stitch marker. You can use the plastic kind like this one, or me personally, I like to just use some scrape yarn. Next, you're also going to be needing some pins in order to mark the location of where you're going to sew or make embroidery. Next, you would need a scissor. I like to use a sharp one, but any scissor would do really. Lastly, you're going to need some stuffing. This is polyester stuffing, but it doesn't really matter much what kind of stuffing you use. All of them should work just fine. Now we are almost ready to start, but I just want to say that if you haven't crocheted before, I highly recommend that you get familiar with some of the basic crochet techniques first. I also have a separate playlist called Amigurumi 101, where I teach you the different kind of techniques that are commonly used to make amigurumi, such as how to make a magic ring, how to make single crochet, slip stitch, half double crochet, how to finish off, how to increase, how to decrease. So those are some of the techniques you will be using in this tutorial, so make sure you know those first and the tutorial would become much easier. We are going to start off our first round with the green color yarn. So basically you're going to first make a new loop. I usually just cross one side of the yarn over another, just like this. And then going to fold this loop down. So you sort of have a circle with another piece of yarn right under. So I'm going to grab this middle piece and I'm gonna hold the bottom two part and then pull the yarn, and this basically form a loop. So next you're going to grab your hook, put it through the middle part. I'm going to hold on to the shorter end and pull in the longer end to make this loop a little bit smaller. Next, you're going to make 2 chains, and you can do that by putting that long end of the yarn over your hook and then pull through like this. I'm going to make another chain by repeating the same thing, yarn over hook, pull through. So now we have 2 chains just made. You're going to be making 6 single crochet into that first chain. So I'm going to push my hook through that first chain, yarn over hook, and you see that after you yarn over hook, pull through, there are 2 loops. You're going to yarn over hook again, but this time pull through both of the loops. So this is 1 single crochet. You're going to make 5 more. So again, to make a single crochet, push that hook through the stitch you want to make the single crochet in, yarn over hook, pull through, and then yarn over hook and pull through both loops. So here you got your second single crochet. We need to make 4 more. So I'm gonna push my hook into here, yarn over hook, pull through, yarn over hook, pull through both loops. Here's my third single crochet. Okay, let's make the 4th one. Yarn over hook, pull through, yarn over hook, pull through both loops. Here's my 4th one. Okay, we still need to make 2 more. Push the hook through the stitch you want to make the single crochet, yarn over hook, pull through, yarn over hook, pull through both loops. Here's the 5th single crochet. So let's make the last one. Yarn over hook, pull through, yarn over hook, and pull through both loops. So the blanket yarn are actually harder to see than the typical acrylic yarn that people use to make amigurumi. But if you sort of look carefully, you could kind of see a circle shape. So we basically make, this is an alternative way to make a magic ring without having to make a magic ring, because that method is kind of harder. Instead, I like to chain 2 and then make 6 single crochet into my first stitch instead of doing a typical magic ring. But you should be able to see that now you have 6 stitches in total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here I'm going to show you 2 different ways to mark your stitch. The first way, you can just use this plastic one. I like to mark my stitch by inserting it into the last stitch of the round, which is that one right there. So I could just, you know, insert it like this. So I'm not very a fan of a plastic stitch marker, So instead I like to use the scrape yarn, as you can see right here. So the way that I do it is I would put my hook through the last stitch just like this, put that scrape yarn right over, and then I'm gonna pull it halfway through and then kind of pull one end through. So it just looks like this. The only thing you need to be careful about is don't accidentally pull it out. Usually that's not an issue for me, but it could be an issue for some people, so just be careful. However, for people who are having a hard time seeing where the stitches are, you can put one stitch marker per a stitch. So for example, like let's say it's very hard to see, for each of the stitch, I could put a stitch marker to help, you know, you see better. For example here, now if you have all the stitch marker inserted, you will be able to easily tell which stitch is which. So for example, this is the 5th stitch of the round, that is the 6th stitch of the round. But for me, since I've been crocheting for a long time, it's not too hard for me to tell by just looking at it. So I'm just gonna only mark the last stitch of the round. Okay, so now that we are done with round 1, let's start on round 2. So for round 2, all we're going to do is increase in every stitch of the round. And increase in my pattern, it basically means you're going to make 2 single crochet in each stitch around. So let's start off with our first stitch. So that's 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So this is where the first stitch is. So you're going to push your hook into that first stitch, and in each stitch you should be able to see that there are 2 loops sitting right there. So this is the first loop, or they call it front loop, and then over here is the back loop. You want to make sure that when you crochet is, you know, under both of the loops, at least for this pattern. So let's make our first single crochet. So yarn over hook, pull through, and then yarn over hook and pull through both loops, just like that. So this is the single crochet. Now you're going to push your hook through the same stitch that we just make that single crochet, because we want to make 2 in that same stitch. So yarn over hook, pull through, and then yarn over hook, and then pull through both loops. So this is what I call increase, or you can see that there are 2 single crochet in that same stitch. So this is an increase. Now in the next stitch right here, let's make another increase. So push your hook there, yarn over hook, pull through, yarn over hook again, and then pull through both loops. Okay, and then in the same second stitch, yarn over hook, pull through, and then yarn over hook again, and then pull through both loops. So here we just made another increase. Okay, so there's 2 single crochet in that same stitch. We're going to repeat this 4 more times. So on the 3rd stitch of this round, okay, push your hook through, okay, yarn over hook, pull through, yarn over hook, and then pull through both loops. So that's 1 single crochet. Okay, put your hook through the same stitch again, yarn over hook, pull through, yarn over hook, pull through both loops. So we just made the 3rd increase. We need 3 more. So this is 1 single crochet, This is the second single crochet in that fourth stitch. Next one, one single crochet, and then one more single crochet in that fifth stitch. And for the last stitch, one single crochet, and then another single crochet in that last stitch. So at the end of the second round, you should have a total of 12 stitches. If you aren't sure, just make sure to count it. So this is, I'm gonna start from the first one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And now I'm going to move my stitch marker from the first round to the second round. Just like that. You might also notice that the piece start to like curve a little bit. This is very natural. If you don't like how it's curving so much, then one thing you can do is try not to crochet too tightly, kind of try to loosen your tension a little bit. For me personally, I tend to crochet on a tighter side, so I try to loosen up once in a while. Another method is you can try to, stretch out your piece by pulling it, sideways and top and bottom, just like that, so that it wouldn't curve too much. For round 3, we're going to make one single crochet in the first stitch, followed by an increase in the second stitch, and then we're going to repeat that same sequence until we reach the end of the round. So now let's start. Okay, push your hook into that first stitch, make a single crochet, and on the second stitch, let's make 2 single crochet in that so that we can make an increase. So this is 1 single crochet, and then on that same stitch, the second single crochet. So you could see that in that first stitch, we only have 1 single crochet. In the second stitch, is 2 single crochet in that same stitch, which makes up an increase. So for the third and fourth stitch, we're gonna repeat that same pattern. So on the third stitch, 1 single crochet. On the fourth stitch, gonna make an increase. So that's 1 single crochet. That's 2 single crochet. So we got an increase in that one. On the 5th and 6th stitch, same thing. Let's do 1 single crochet. And then 2 single crochet in the next one. 1, 2. And then I'm just gonna repeat the same thing until I reach the end of the round. So 3 more times. 1 single crochet, 1, 2, so I got an increase, 1 single crochet, 1, 2, I got another increase, 1 single crochet, and on the last stitch makes an increase, 1 and then 2. So this is an increase. So to pause your work, you can always just pull the loop out and then kind of leave your hook down. I'm going to pull my piece slightly because it's starting to curve a lot. And I'm going to take out this stitch marker, move it to my round 3 at that last stitch of the round. Make sure that this round you have a total of 18 stitches. If the number of stitches don't add up, you could always, you know, undo or frog your yarn and go back to the previous round, and then make sure that each round you have a correct number of stitches. That's the only way to track your piece. There's no other shortcut basically. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and then 18. So we are good for this round. Okay, now let's begin round 4. You basically going to be making 2 single crochet, then increase. So in the first stitch, let's make 1 single crochet. And then in that second stitch, also make 1 single crochet. On the third stitch, make an increase. 1, 2, that's an increase. So again, the pattern is 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, then an increase. So I'm basically just gonna repeat this sequence until the end of the round. 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and then let's make an increase. Just like that. So keep repeating the same sequence. So 2 single crochet, 1 in each stitch, and then an increase, and then I will see you at the end of this round. So here's the end of the round number 4. As you can see, the piece started to curve a little bit more. So if your piece is too flat or is too curvy, don't worry too much. You can try to stretch it out, push it out, shape it with your hand a little bit. But eventually, once we add the stuffing into our final piece, that can help to shape the final piece as well. So don't worry too much about how it looks in the moment. Usually when I crochet, it doesn't look that good in the middle of it, but I could guarantee that at the end, it would look great. So for this round, just make sure to count and make sure that you have a total of 24 stitches. And also don't forget to move your stitch marker from the previous round to this round at the end of, at the very last stitch of the round. So now let's start round 5. For this round, we're going to follow a similar sequence. Instead of making 2 single crochet, we're going to make 3 single crochet followed by an increase. One single crochet, 2 single crochet, and then we make 1 more single crochet in that third stitch. On that fourth stitch, let's make an increase. 1, 2. So you can see we make 1 single crochet, another single crochet, and then 1 more single crochet before we made an increase. So I usually call this like 3 single crochet, 1 in each, and then you make an increase. Let's do that one more time. 1 single crochet, another single crochet, and then 1 more single crochet, and then on that next stitch make an increase. So 1, 2, 3, and then we have an increase right here. Usually an increase, the stitch where you have increase will look bigger than the stitch where you just have 1 single crochet, because the increase is 2 single crochet, right? So it obviously look bigger. So that's how you also can tell, you know, what kind of stitch are being made in your current round as well. So repeat that same sequence again. Is 3 single crochet, then an increase until the end of round 5. So here's the end of round 5. This is the outside wheel, and then here's the inside wheel. You can see that the shape started to curve, which is natural. And just make sure that at the end of round 5 you have a total of 30 stitches. So make sure to count so that you don't lose track and having to, you know, keep undo and go back. So it's a good practice, just count every round, especially if you're newer to crocheting. For the next round, round 6, it's going to be super easy. All we're going to do is single around. When I say single around, what I mean is we're going to make a single crochet, 1 in each stitch basically. So very simple. So in that first stitch, just make 1 single crochet. In the second stitch, also make 1 single crochet. So in all of the stitches, just make 1 single crochet. And then I'll see you at the end of round 6. So here's the end of round 6. In this round, you should have a total of 30 stitches as well, because we just made single crochet all around. We didn't do any increase, so the number of stitches shouldn't change in this round. For round 7, we actually going to change to another color. If you don't know how to change color, I highly recommend that you check out my Amigurumi 101 playlist. I teach you 2 different methods to change the color, but I'm going to show you here as well. But if you need more help, just go to that Amigurumi 101 playlist to learn how to do that. So when changing color, what I like to do is I'm going to pull out my current stitch marker, just like that, as well as undo my last stitch. So I'm gonna pull that out, and now I am left with 2 loops. So I'm gonna put my hook through that 2 loops. Now you're going to grab the color that you're going to change to. In this case, it's going to be white color. So grab that, put it over your hook, and then pull through. So that's pretty much the way I change color. And now instead of keep crocheting with the green color yarn, you're going to crochet with the white one. So one thing you need to do is you need to secure the color change. So I'm going to do that when I crochet the next stitch. So this round 7, you're going to basically single around, same thing as round 6. So I'm gonna make single crochet in that first stitch. When you push your hook through, usually you know, yarn over hook, pull through, and then pull through again. but in this case, since I need to secure my color change, I'm gonna put that short end of the white yarn and then the old color, gonna put it right on top of my hook to secure it like that. And now I can just go ahead and make my single crochet. So yarn over hook, pull through, yarn over hook, pull through both loops. Okay, so here we have begin the color changing. And what I also like to do is you can go ahead and then cut that green color yarn off, since we are now done with the green color, and it makes it a little bit less messy. I am also going to put my stitch marker back in. So this is the last stitch of round 6. This is where you would want to mark your round. Okay. Then I could now continue with my round 7. Again, round 7, you're just gonna make 1 single crochet in each stitch around. I'll see you once I finish this round. So here's the end of round 7. You should also have 30 stitches in total. After this round, we're going to switch to brown color yarn. So again, same thing. I'm going to pull off my stitch marker and then sort of undo my last stitch halfway. So I'm just gonna pull that out so that there are 2, loops here. You're going to insert your hook into the first loop and then into the second loop like that, so that we can do our color chain. So grab the brown yarn, put it over your hook, and then we're going to pull it through both loops. Okay. So for round 8, we are going to make 14 single crochet, then an increase, and repeat that sequence for 2 times. So in the first stitch, I'm going to first secure my color change by putting that 2 tails right over my hook, and then yarn over hook, pull through, yarn over hook, pull through both loops. Okay, so I got the first single crochet now. I'm gonna pause right there in order to cut out that white color tail, since I don't need the white color anymore. And next thing you should do is put back that stitch marker at the last stitch of the previous round. Okay, so now we can continue with round 8. So round 8, we just made 1 single crochet. We're going to need 13 more. So let's do that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay. And on the 15th stitch, make an increase. So you're going to repeat that same sequence. So 14 single crochet, and then on the last stitch make an increase. So here we're at the end of round 8. Okay, and you should have a total of 32 stitches at the end of this round, because we did 2 increase, you know, going from round 7 to round 8, so there should be 32 stitches. Make sure you count it as you go. This will be the back of the duck, and then that would be the front of the duck. This is why we make the color change. You can see that the transition is not as smooth, and that's because we did not do like a seamless color change method. So if you're interested in that, you can find other YouTube video that goes over that. There are a lot of helpful video out there, so I'm not gonna make another tutorial on that, but you can learn how to do that and then redo this part if you wish. For round 9, all we're going to do is single crochet in each stitch around. So 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in another stitch, and then we're gonna keep doing the same thing until we reach the end of the round. So here we're at the end of round 9. In this round, you should have a total of 32 stitches, since all we did is single around. For round 10, we're going to make 6 single crochet, then decrease. So 1 single crochet, another 1. Okay, here's our 3rd single crochet, the 4th one, the 5th one, and then the 6th. So 1 single crochet in each stitch for the next 6 stitch, so 6 single crochet total. And then you're going to make a decrease. If you don't know how to make a decrease, check out my Amigurumi 101 playlist tutorial, but I'm going to show you how to do it here as well. So the way I make my decrease is I push the hook into the next stitch, grab the yarn, pull through. So as you can see, you have 2 loops right now. You're going to push the hook into another next stitch, grab the yarn and pull through. So now there are 3 loops. You're gonna grab the yarn again and then pull through all 3 loops. So this is how I make my decrease. This is a regular decrease. Some people like to make a invisible decrease. I personally don't do that, and it doesn't make a lot of difference which one you decide to make, as long as your tension is, you know, consistent. I usually crochet at a, you know, tighter tension, so whether I make a regular decrease or the invisible decrease, it doesn't matter to my piece. Okay, we're going to repeat that same sequence again. So 6 single crochet. Here's 1. Here's 2. 3, 4, 5, and then 6. After you make 6 single crochet, then you make a decrease. So in the next stitch, grab yarn, pull through, and then in the stitch after, grab the yarn, pull through. So you have 3 loops. Grab the yarn, pull through all 3 loops. So that's how you make a decrease. You're going to repeat that same sequence until you reach the end of the round. So 6 single crochet followed by a decrease. Repeat it 2 more times. Here we're at the end of round 10. At the end of round 10, you should have a total of 28 stitches since, you know, we did a decrease 4 times. And 32 minus 4 is 28. For round 11, let's make 5 single crochet, then a decrease. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, and then a decrease. Again, you're going to repeat the same sequence, so 5 single crochet, then a decrease 3 more times until you reach the end of this round. So here we're at the end of round 11. You should have a total of 24 stitches. Now it's time to add some stuffing. So when I normally do my stuffing, I like to kind of break up into a smaller chunk and stuff a little bit at a time. So you can just use your hand to stuff. And usually I don't just push the stuffing downward, but I like to kind of spread it out to the edges first, leaving the middle part kind of like empty, just like that, so all the stuffing is around the edges. And then keep repeating the same thing because I now want to start shaping my duck and make him as round as possible. And later on you can start, you know, add more stuffing in the middle to fill in the gap that you might have. So we don't need to stuff too much at this round because this hole is still big. We don't want the stuffing to get in the way as you crochet the next round, so we're just gonna stuff a little bit, and then in the next round we can stuff a little bit more. So for round 12, we're going to make 1 single crochet, then decrease. So that's 1 single crochet. Oopsie. That's 1 decrease. So 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, and repeat that sequence until the end of the round. We just made that sequence 1 time. You're going to make it 7 more times. At the end of round 12, you should have a total of 16 stitches all around. We're going to add a little bit more of the stuffing now that the hole is getting slightly smaller. So again, just push off the stuffing to the edges first, and then we can stuff the middle part if there's still some room. For the last round, round 13, all we're going to do is making a decrease all around. So that's going to be a total of 8 decreases that we're going to have to make. So that's 1. You're going to make 7 more. Here we're at the end of round 13. We're going to finish off, and the way you do that is make sure that you have a long tail so that we have enough tail in order to sew this whole clothes. So now let's cut that tail with a scissor, and you're basically going to pull out that loop all the way to the tail come out. So this is what we call finish off. Now let's add more stuffing so that the shape doesn't look weird. We want the shape to be as round as possible. So I'm gonna keep adding more stuffing. I like to personally add a lot. So my plushie are actually a little bit more stiff. It's still soft, but it's not hollow. Again, as you stuff, use this opportunity to shape your piece at the same time. I normally spend 5 minutes just putting in the stuffing. I know it's a long time, it's crazy, but good stuffing can actually help make your product look better. So I think it's worth it. So now he's basically round. Just like that one right there. Maybe this one looks slightly bigger. It's all depend on the tension. Okay, now let's close off this hole. Basically, you're going to put this yarn into your needle. So if you have a bigger eye needle, it's gonna be a lot easier. But if you don't, I try to kind of press on the yarn to get it as, you know, flat as possible so that I can insert it into the needle. And now I'm basically gonna sew it close. Just kind of grab that stitch and then pull through. I'm gonna grab the opposite side of the stitch from the bottom going up. And then I'm gonna grab another stitch right here. Yeah, from the bottom up like that. And then grab another one on the opposite side. Kind of like an asterisk shape. You can think of it like that. And then we're gonna keep pulling onto it so that we can close this. Different amigurumi maker, they have different techniques to sew this close, but this is what I prefer. So I also have a separate tutorial in my Amigurumi 101 playlist where I teach you how to finish off. So if you need another round of tutorial or a reminder, refresher, whatever you call it, you can check that out. So after the hole is fully closed, gonna kind of move the tail to another spot so that I can hide this off. So you can cut this, make it a little bit shorter, and then kind of hide it inside the piece as well. If you are using a scissor to hide it, just be very careful. You don't want to cut into your yarn and then it's starting to unravel. You could also use like a wooden chopstick. That's a good one as well. Okay, so here we just finished the head / the body of the duck. Next, we're going to make the wings. We're gonna make 2 wings in total. Going to start off with the brown color yarn. Let's make a new loop. Okay. And we are going to chain 4 times. So grab the yarn, pull through, that's 1 chain. Grab yarn, pull through, the 2nd chain. Grab the yarn, pull through, that's the 3rd chain. And then lastly, grab the yarn again and pull through. So now we have a total of 4 chains. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So on that 3rd one, let's put the hook in and then make a single crochet. And then on the one after, we're going to make half double crochet. In order to do that, you're going to put the yarn over hook just like this. You're gonna push the hook into that next stitch. You're gonna yarn over hook again, pull through. You will end up having 3 loops. You're gonna yarn over hook and then pull through all 3 loops. So that's a half double crochet. You're gonna repeat 1 more time in that next stitch. So yarn over hook, push through the next stitch, yarn over hook again, pull it through. Now you have 3 loops. Grab the yarn and pull through all 3 loops. And also in that same stitch that you just made half double crochet, let's push the hook inside again. Next one, we're going to make a slip stitch. So basically, yarn over hook, pull through, and then you're just gonna pull that first loop through the 2nd loop. So this is a slip stitch. And just basically finish off, we're gonna finish off with a long tail so that we have enough yarn to sew this to the body. Just gonna look like this. So this is 1 wing. You're going to make 2, 1 on each side. Next, we are going to make the feet. So those are the feet. And we're gonna start off with the yellow color yarn. Let's make a new loop. You're going to chain 3 times. So 1, 2, and then 3. In that 2nd chain next to hook, push it in. So that's gonna be the middle chain. We're going to make a single crochet, just like that. And then in the next stitch after, we are going to make 3 single crochet. So 1, and then in that same stitch again, 2, and then one more time, 3. So a total of 3 single crochet. So now we are kind of, you know, turning around your work on this side. On that stitch after, you're going to make 2 single crochet. I also call that an increase. So 1 and then 2. So now we're going to finish off with a long tail. You notice how right now at the end we should have a total of 6 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Even though it's, you know, 6 stitches, similar to how we make the magic ring, this method allows you to make kind of like an oval shape rather than a circle. So make sure to make another feet. So here are the 2 feet. Next, we're going to make this beak. The first round of this pattern is basically the same as this foot. So let's make one more of the foot and then we'll go from there. Here I have just made a foot. Do not finish off because we're going to turn it into a beak since it's the same pattern for the first round. Just make sure that you add in the stitch marker at the last stitch of round 1. And you should have a total of 6 stitches in this round. For the next round, all we're going to do is make a single crochet in each stitch around. So single round in that next stitch, let's make single crochet. Okay, that's the second one. That's the third one. The fourth one. Fifth one. And then for the sixth one, I'm gonna take out that stitch. That stitch marker. So now we finish with the beak and let's finish off. Okay, now I'm going to mark the spot where the eyes will be on. It's going to be on this round. This is round number 6, which is where the green is transitioning to white. Gonna add it like that. And I'm just gonna try to make sure that that color change part is facing the back side. Okay, the next eye are going to be at 6 stitches away, so I'm gonna count this as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. So let me put that pins in. Okay, so again, let me count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So for the eye, we are going to use the dark brown yarn. So you could just insert the needle from the side and just make sure the needle come out at the location where you have the pin. So right over here, once I already have my needle there, I'm gonna pull out that pin. I don't need it anymore because I got the location now. Now I'm going to take out that pin as well. Try to remember the location of where you need to sew. Basically, you need to sew it multiple times so that the eyes are thick enough. Because right now it just looks like a line. We want it to be sort of an oval shape. After enough time, it's gonna look like that. So as you keep sewing, you might notice, oh, there's a lot of stuffing, you know, that got in between. What I usually like to do is, if you have a new unused tweezer, you can use to help you pull out the stitches that got stuck in between. Or you can just use your hand too, but it could be slightly inconvenient. After you're done with that eye, start on the other eye. Just make sure the eye is not too loose. You don't want the stitch to come out. So I like to do it kind of tight, but not too tight such that it, you know, bend the shape of the body. Okay, so repeat the same for the other eye. After you're done with another eye, what I usually like to do is I'm going to poke my needle back to where I started. So right there. And then I'm going to cut and make this tail shorter so that I could tie a knot to secure whatever I just saw right here. I'm gonna carefully hide that tail inside here using my needle. So here we have just made the two eyes. And now we're going to sew the sheet right next to it. So the location, basically, this is the hole where the eye is in the next hole, put in this pin. And then in the hole right after, put in another pin. So this is where the sheet will go. Same thing on the other side. Gonna make the sheet using pink color yarn, using similar method as the eye. Gonna poke the needle to where the pin is, take one out, and then pull that yarn through. And then gonna pull out that needle. Remember the location you need to insert your pin. Gonna have to keep repeating this a few times so that the sheet is thick enough and it's visible. And because my yarn is a lot thinner than the other one, I just using two pieces of yarn at once so that it doesn't take way too long to make the sheet thick enough. So here are the sheets. Next, let's add in the beak. Before you sew anything, always use the pin to help secure the location of the part. It's going to make your life a lot easier, I promise. So I'm just gonna kind of pin around the part. I'm trying to get this beak to be on the same round as the eye. In the past, I used to sew a lot of pieces to amigurumi without pinning, and what happened is the location of the piece got shifted so much, such as I have to undo and take all the sewing out, which isn't fun. So make sure to pin everything in so that the part is in the location that you want it to be. Some people I know that, don't like to sew because it could be hard initially if you haven't sewn before, but I have a certain trick that I use, and I think with that it makes it a lot easier. So what I'm going to do is, use this needle to try to grab any yarn that you can on the head and pull that through, and then just turn the piece as you go. So I'm going to pull the needle out as I go as well. Next, you're gonna use the needle to go inside your beak and then push it out through one of the stitch that is closest to where you are, and then pull through. I'm gonna turn my piece around again. Next, because I just pull my yarn through the beak, now I'm going to try to grab another piece of yarn on the head, wherever is closest to where I'm at. So here might be a good one. And then pull through. Same thing, we're gonna repeat. So I'm gonna push my needle through the next stitch of the beak. Right there. Gonna find a location I can grab on the head. Right here, pull it through. I'm going back to the beak on the next stitch, so going from the inside, push the stitch, the needle out the next stitch, pull through, grab another yarn on the green part, pull through, and then same thing, put the needle through the beak on the green part, push the yarn through, the needle through, So before you completely sew this close, I'm gonna add a tiny bit of the stuffing. You could try to kind of roll it into a small, tiny ball and then put that inside. Oopsie. And then once you're done, I'm gonna push the needle through somewhere else on the body and pull it through. And just try to kind of reshape it a little bit. Going to see. Actually, I'm gonna try to push this whole thing in for security. Just be careful if you use the scissor. I don't recommend it. Now the beak is done. Next, let's sew the feet. It's going to go at around here. And then make sure to pin it down again. You could use like 3 to 4 pins. And I usually like to compare it with the previous piece that I made. Okay, so now put the yarn into the needle, and you're going to sew it in a similar way, not exactly the same way, and I will show you why. So first, let's grab some yarn from the brown color and then pull through. Going to push your needle into the stitch in the yellow color and then pull through. And then I'm going to go back to the same stitch I grabbed on the brown, just to make sure that that part is smooth, since that's where you finish off. Okay, now you go back up on the next stitch of the yellow color, pull through. Gonna take that pin out. Instead of, you know, go ahead and grab the brown yarn, I'm gonna skip that. Instead, I'm gonna push my pin down on the next stitch of the yellow piece. And then you're gonna grab the brown part. Now I'm going to insert my needle upward on that same stitch. Now you're going to push the needle downward on the next stitch. Okay, let's grab some brown yarn. We're going to push the needle up the same stitch. Now push the needle down the next stitch. Okay, time to grab some brown yarn. Needle up the same stitch. Gonna take out that last pin. Needle down the next stitch. Grab the brown yarn. Needle up the same stitch. Needle down the next stitch, and then I'm gonna push the needle all the way out, because now we are done with that first feet. If anything kind of pop out, you can just push it in. Now sew that foot in as well. Next, we're going to sew on the wing. The location of it will be on the same spot. I guess the same round as the cheeks. But you're going to have to count 1, 2. That's where you're gonna place the edge of the wing. On the other side, same thing. Put that pin there. So for the wing, let's insert the yarn into the needle, and in that location I'm going to put in the needle and then pull it out somewhere else. For the outer tail, let's do the same thing. We're going to insert it into the same hole basically, and then pull it somewhere out here. So you can see that the wing is flopping. I usually like to keep the wing kind of, attached to the body. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna find a place where you can grab like a piece of yarn on the wing and then pull through. And from here I'm gonna push my needle into that same spot and then pull it all the way through somewhere else, and now it's gonna keep the wing kind of flap down. Now that you got the wing flap downward, I'm gonna move the location of the other side of the tail. It could also be easier to kind of move it using your hook, so I'm gonna do just that. You want to try to hide this tail. Let me just, I guess, hide it in like that, and also for the other tail as well. Okay, now that wing is done, let's add another one. Here we are done. If you like this tutorial, please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Thank you. And if you have any questions, please leave the comment down below. If I can answer it, I will. Bye-bye.